Sorry, the question was the selection process.
Yeah, like how did you select them, and then how did you get them on board?
Okay. Basically, when I started, I drew up a wish list of kind of people, which was meant to be a top 10 list, but there were too many, so it became a top 12 list. And then the approaches to everybody varied quite a lot. I mean, some people were very, very challenging to be able to get access to, and it took a long, long time to kind of make it happen. And then some people, I don't want to say it was easy, but I found a way of doing it that they kind of responded to quite quickly. In a weird kind of way, the fact that I was from Ireland kind of helped a little bit with some people, because they were quite surprised that someone would be interested enough to come over and do that and whatever. Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, but I also think that you coming as a fan to it and sitting down with them and discussing it as about pushing it as an art form and about the creative process, that really engaged a lot of showrunners and opened doors. You know?
No, for sure. I mean, like, I think they very quickly recognized that I had a genuine, passionate interest in what they were doing, and like, when we did interview people, I always said, I don't want to interview you, I want this to be a conversation, let's just have a chat. And I think they took the spirit of that in a lot of ways and ran with it. Because yeah, I mean, it is, everybody involved in making the film is kind of a big TV fan, so we are trying to do it for TV fans as well. But yeah, I mean, you know, getting J.J. Abrams and Joss Whedon, it took some time, but it was fantastic when we did it.
I'm sure it was worth it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like it took a long time and it varied. So about how long did it take to go from like idea, where you're crafting this wish list, to like now, where you're now promoting it, and then to when it finally can be seen?
Okay. We started around summer 2010 when we pitched originally. We got some development money. I came over around fall 2010. It took about 3 to 4 months before we got to shoot with anybody.
And
to start
you knew nobody.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were coming over, like, who's this guy from Ireland, whatever. I had one meeting set up in advance, which was actually the fantastic Jane Espenson. I had managed to contact her through a website that was devoted to her, and she agreed to meet me, and we sat down in the ArcLight in Hollywood and had lunch and talked through some things, and she had some ideas about, you know, what I might do and some info and stuff. But other than that, it was like literally starting from scratch in every conceivable way. But that's what kind of made it a bit of an adventure as well, I guess. And once we kind of did start to get some people reacting and started shooting with some people, I suppose the one that really kind of opened the doors is when we filmed with Damon Lindelof, which was one of my, and still is, one of my all-time favorite interviews. And he has the coolest office in the world. His office is decorated with the most amazing Star Wars collectibles, toys, props from Lost. The little table in the waiting area outside his office is the hatch from Lost. It's pretty cool.
So this is your first like directorial picture.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, what made you decide to go like documentary route versus like a fiction film or narrative film, particularly?
I think to what I want to try and do is explain to people what the job is, what it involves, who the guys are who do it. I think to do that, it has to be documentary to kind of to really make that work, because you want to hear from the guys themselves. I don't want to be standing in front of a camera or have an actor standing in front of a camera trying to describe to people or pretending to be or whatever. It's far more interesting, I think, to people who are fans of the shows to actually hear from the people who write and create them. So that's why we did it that way.
You talked to like a bunch of people, Joss Whedon, Jane Espenson, like Lost, like. Can you say what your favorite TV show is?
No, because I have so many. I certainly was a huge Lost fan. I mean, I was addicted to that show. It's like crack cocaine to me. But there are many, many shows. I mean, Breaking Bad, I love to bits. Game of Thrones, you know, Boardwalk Empire is another fantastic show. I mean, it's. I think if you're a TV fan at the moment, you're literally spoiled for choice. There's so much good shows on, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm actually finding it difficult to keep up at the moment, just because of the post schedule and stuff that we've had and whatever. So there's a ton of stuff on my DVR waiting for me to be finished to try and catch up with everything. But yeah, and there are some guilty pleasures which I shouldn't name.
Oh, come on.
Bridezilla's.
No. I tell you what, fascinated with, and it's not so much the show in a way. The show is not bad at all, but it's what goes on behind the scenes. It is Pretty Little Liars. The way that Marion King has managed to embrace social media to turn that show into the level of hit that it is something quite phenomenal. And now she's got a spin-off coming as well, and she's basically going to be running the two of them at the same time. So hats off to Marion King for that.
Cool. And then is like if there were one showrunner that you didn't get in the documentary, like who would it be? Would it be the Pretty Little Liars or someone else? Like
there's a couple of people. We tried very hard to get David Benioff and DB Voice, and we just couldn't make the schedules work. We could never make the schedules work. Similarly with Vince Gilligan, who for various reasons we weren't able to make the schedules work. So yeah, there are some people that desperately I want to be in the sequel.
So there are plans for a sequel?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Awesome. I mean, if it does well, and like, because there's so, like you said, there's so much quality TV. You pretty much could make it like a series of sorts where you're talking to just quality showrunner after quality.
I've been jokingly talking about doing it as a musical, web series.
Yeah, I mean there is, and the other thing that's going on is the business is constantly evolving and changing at the moment. You know, there's never been a more radical period of change, I think, than what's going on at the moment. And there's certainly, if we were lucky enough to get to do something else, there's certainly different angles that I would like to come at things from the next time around. So David or DB, if you're watching this, or Vince, we'll be coming back to you.
Yeah, so you mentioned like it's really a time of flux for TV with like Netflix and everything.
Yeah.
And the Emmy nominations actually recognized Netflix this morning.
Yeah.
Have you checked out the Netflix shows? Like,
Yeah,
what do you
I
think
have.
of them?
I love House of Cards. I literally watched House of Cards in a day.
Yeah,
I couldn't stop. That was fantastic television. Hemlock Grove, I have a weird relationship with. There's some fantastic stuff going on that show, but there's also some very, very, very strange stuff. However, I'm delighted there's a second season because the cliffhanger I didn't quite understand at all, so I'm delighted that there's an opportunity for them to explain to me exactly what's going on in that show. But Orange is the New Black I think is fantastic as well. Arrested Development, it seems to have been a huge hit for them as well. I think they're talking about trying to do that again as well. So yeah, I mean that is a game changer. And I think J. Michael Straczynski has an original science fiction show that they're doing as well. So. Yeah, I mean it's a big game changer. I mean if House of Cards does well at the Emmys as well, that's going to be quite interesting. You know?
But so I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I was wondering if there was any like particular segment that really stands out to you that you can't wait for the audience to see or to learn about from the film.
There's a couple.
all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
No, but you know, you're it's been a long process, and you're just keen to.
Yeah, I mean we've been pregnant a long time. We really want to give birth. If I can use that euphemism. But yeah, I think there's a number of different. I mean, we deal with a number of different things over the course of the film, and there are some sections that I think will be genuinely surprising to some people, and I think they'll respond very well to them. So yeah, I can't wait till we get to a point where I can talk in more detail with people about it, and fingers crossed people enjoy it.
So there's been like a bunch of Save Our Show campaigns or whatever. Has there been one that you were personally invested in or rooted for?
Yeah. Certainly in regards to Fringe, I wanted that show to go on. I wanted them to have an opportunity to finish. I knew they had a 5-year plan for that show, and because we'd kind of gotten to know them and spent some time with them, we really liked those guys. And I thought it was a great show. I did really want to see that one get done. Over the years, there's been some guilty pleasure shows that I kind of wish had continued on. If there had been a third season of Legend and Seeker, I would have been a very happy bunny. But it didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a very tough environment to if the harsh reality of ratings. If it's not happening, and for whatever reason you're not connecting with an audience, it's very challenging, and it happens too much maybe for some shows. And it's a difficult thing as well at the moment because you can get pulled after 2 or 3 episodes now. I mean the margin for error is very, very small. And that's. is another level of challenge for people that are writing and dealing, particularly with network. I think with cable, you probably fairly safe bet, even if your ratings aren't great in the first season, you will more than likely get a second season to try and see how things can build and develop. But in network, that is a very, very challenging thing. And I think it kind of, people then want to see, is the show going to run? Is it going to, because I know a lot of people have come to Revolution a little later and whatever, now that they know it's going to stick around for a little while.
Because people don't want to be left hanging.
Yeah. They don't want to be left hanging, If you're going to invest time and energy into watching a show and characters, you don't want to get it pulled or yanked after 3 or 4 episodes,
So you mentioned Revolution. Are there any, I guess, shows that have 1 season that are new that you guys are super excited about? For the future, think they could be good.
So something for that would have started last season.
Yeah, something pretty new, not something like Fringe or.
Let me see. Well, can I go back 2 seasons?
Yeah, you've been busy with the movie, so you might have missed stuff.
I do try and keep up as much as I possibly can. Certainly, Person of Interest I like a lot, and I think that show has grown and developed into a far more interesting show than maybe where it started from. Once Upon a Time, certainly, they've expanded that world in a lot of ways that I wouldn't have seen them actually doing to start off with. The fact that they're into a spin-off show just after 2 seasons of the Mothership show is quite an unusual situation. And the best of luck, Eddie and Adam, Jane, everybody with that. What else? A lot of the shows that I do spend a lot of time watching have been around for quite a long time, I suppose, at this point in time. But I am going to have to. There's a lot of stuff on my DVR. There is a lot of stuff on my DVR that I'm going to have to catch up with and try and pay more attention to. I'm trying to think. I kind of feel like I'm missing something.
So do I. I'm trying to think of what I've been watching lately.
From last season, that really.
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black actually is a good
that's
example.
My favourite new find of this year, and Sherlock obviously, but I can't wait for that to come back.
Yeah,
but
it kind of bugs me.
Shows, of course,
it kind of bugs me that they only do 3 episodes. I know they're all feature length and stuff, but I wouldn't mind 22. Stephen, any chance? On top of 22 Doctor Who, that'd be awesome as well. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to give that a little bit more thought as well. I really do feel I'm missing something like that.
Really obvious.
I'm watching Under the Dome at the moment.
Is that good? I watched the pilot, but I haven't been keeping up.
It's kind of interesting. I haven't read the book, so I am curious. I want to know what's going on. But the fact that that whole idea of a limited event series thing seems to be coming back in a big way, I think is quite interesting. I think the idea that they're bringing 24 back to do it in that format as well is really interesting. And I think to a certain extent that's a reaction by the networks a little bit to what cable is doing, because it's let's produce a lower number and let's see if we can sustain it a little better over that period of time. One of the things that's kind of happened during the making of the film, we spoke with Mike Kelly, and at the time that we did the interview with him, he was still the showrunner on Revenge. He's not the showrunner on Revenge anymore. That stuff like that, which is quite a challenging thing, and it's kind of funny at the moment the Dan Harmon situation as well, where you're out.
Just kidding.
Season 4. Let's pretend season 4 didn't happen, and then you're back in. It's a fascinating time and a fascinating world all around. Yeah,
and then I guess what do you guys have planned next? Once this comes out and people can see it, do you have plans maybe to continue talking to showrunners or move on to a different project?
Well, there is something in the works. There will be an announcement made at the panel that we're doing here at Comic-Con tomorrow. We can't say anything about it just at the moment, but there will be news shortly.
Cool, very cool.
We're about to give birth.
It's exciting times. I think that wraps up my questions. Thank you so much for talking to me. and I'm excited for the announcement and to eventually see the movie.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Thank you.